end it off properly though, because this is all gonna be in the records. But I do want to end this off properly. I know my homie Gabe and old Marcus, they was watching. And I was really getting into my movie cinema bag. That's probably what I need to talk about more. Just talk about the movies more. My favorite stuff. If I'm gonna be on the big screen here, I gotta talk about it. So hopefully everybody that was in the chat, you got a notification that I'm back on the live, but I won't be too long. And if y'all just happen not to get back on the live, just let me know. The ones that know me personally and the ones that don't know me personally, keep up with my community tab. I'm back. Good. So anyways, good. Awesome. So I was talking about, what was the last thing you heard from Marcus? Because I know he's talking about Barbarella, and I started talking about other stuff. Now I'll just go back. And I'm gonna get more used to this live streaming thing, because I ain't gonna lie, I am enjoying. I watch so many other content creators do their lives talking about stuff they like or they're passionate about, and I always felt like, well, maybe I'm either sharing too much when I'm just talking on here. Well, I know what to share. I ain't telling y'all business, but I know what to share, especially on the internet. There's no shame in talking about movies you love and video games you love and comic books, action figures, geek stuff, cinematic stuff, music stuff. But anyways, I was talking about Barbarella and also other movies that came out not only in the 60s, but in the 70s. So just let me know in the chat what was the last thing you heard from me. It will get to be second nature for you soon. Oh yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it because I know that this is kind of like the new medium. I mean, I don't have the big setup. You see, I'm in my lazy boy chair in the living room. I'm not even in my studio, but I'm noticing that you got folks that's getting a whole bunch of views and they don't even have a setup. They literally in their car. They don't even have good lighting. And you know how I know how picky you are about lighting and like the sharpness and the detail of a picture or a video, because I've grown the same way. I'm at the point I'm picky about it. I'm very very particular about it. Okay, so I cut out a doll. Okay, so the doll scene. So I'll go back to that. So Barbarella, she's tied up to like these poles or like these little pillars. And these creepy kids have some type of control mechanism. They have this control mechanism where they manipulate the dolls to go after Barbarella real slowly and menacing. And they have these razor sharp teeth, and the dolls are ugly. Like number one, there's people. The new band is great. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. And this is in this channel. It's still going to be skits and entertainment, scripted content, but there's also going to be some just talking and discussion, as well as some other things I got in the works. Other channels I got in the works, more than one. But anyways, I'm about to get me something to drink because I really got into a talking fit. So anyways, with Barbarella, so she's tied up to the pillars. These kids have these automated dolls that they're controlling. They're getting ready to chomp away at Barbarella. And so the dolls are ugly. They got different colors on them, like disfigured color, not like human color, but like blue, grayish. They look dead. Their eyes are like glazed over. And in the teeth, the doll's teeth already have blood on them. So obviously there were some other victims. We don't know who they were, but they were kind of, I guess, munched on in the past. And they are slowly creeping up towards Barbarella. She's noticing what's going to happen. So she's trying to call for help and stuff like that. And so then it gets to a point, now they start to really sink their teeth into her. They're biting her. They tearing flesh a little bit. Now they don't show flesh being torn as they show, like thigh meat is getting a little bloody and they tearing at the stocking. Now, of course, and I mentioned Terrifier. If this had been like a more modern day movie, it would have got a little bit more graphic, depending on how far the director and the special effects team wanted to go. So Jane Fonda, she's selling it, she's screaming. You think if you don't know what section this is in the movie, she might be meeting her doom. She might be getting in, just eaten alive. A cold icy blue. Oh yeah. And so next thing you know, there's this Chewbacca-esque type of hero that comes out of nowhere. So the guy is wearing a big old furry suit. Me, that mind you, just like a sci-fi thing with outer space. And usually in outer space, you're wearing like a cold metallic shell or some kind of, like a smoother type of look. But this guy's wearing a darn furry Chewbacca, Bigfoot type of suit. And he has this whip, so he's whipping the kids back. He's telling them, y'all back up. Y'all leave this woman alone. And they tie him up and capture the kids. And then next thing you know, oddly enough, after he rescues Barbarella and lays her on the bed, she's got markings all over her. There comes the oddest way to heal somebody. He says he can make her feel better by making love to her, as they say back in the day. And next thing you know, there's this prelude, or forgive me if I'm not using the right word. There's this video of the ship that they're in while they're making love, spinning around, sailing about and about. Next thing you know, she's healed and she has no mark on her. I don't know how. I don't know why. If that could heal everybody, I think it's a lot of people. There'll be a lot of healed people in this world. But that shows just how odd Barbarella is. But to each his own. I like it. I like the serious stories. I like the wild, outrageous stories. You got to have a balance. It's like if I ran a movie theater, you got to have a balance. Everything can't be serious and sad and dramatic and overly intense. It was softcore in 1968. Hello, Benicio. How are you doing? Welcome. Please put a like in the chat if you like what you hear, you like what you see. Yeah, Marcus, it was softcore. It was softcore in the 60s. Very. It was a lot of innuendo on stuff. And in the 60s were like that. Of course, I wasn't there. And from the stuff I heard, I'm glad I wasn't. I would just like the nice, positive pop culture side. But civil rights side, look, I'd be fist fighting for Dr. King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and stuff like that. I'm fighting for them. If you are in the chat and you liking what you hear, we talking about movies, we talking about just different things like that, and music and pop culture and comic books, put a like in the chat and just say hello. You're more than welcome. But yeah, in the 60s was just really a big mix-up. In a way, we're not as what we're going through now is not as extreme as in the 60s, but I will say in the entertainment industry, there is a shakeup like it was in the 60s. Like if you love the big studio style of the 50s and the 40s, the 60s started becoming the polar opposite of that. The 60s were changing that. And the 70s really shook it up because it was a lot of black superstars that saved it. It was the exploitation. It was the quote unquote cheaper movies. Kind of like right now we have Tubi. So you're gonna see a lot more lower budget exploitive movies on Tubi. And then, of course, in the 90s, we had the 90s Renaissance where it was like a little bit more I hate to kind of say it like that. It was a little bit more prestige of the indie film, especially black filmmakers. And then the 70s, you had your black exploitation. And then before that, and Marcus, I'm about to go here because I've talked about the race films of like the 20s and 30s, and it was like over 500 or 600, correct me if I'm wrong, that were made, and like only 400 of them still exist to this day. Ain't no telling what them stories were. But, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it because, shoot, you probably going to see me in some of those. But, and I would love to be in some. I love being big budget, small budget, just big, wide array in the career. Don't knock a exploitation of small budget. Sometimes those are better than the big budget. Just because your budget big don't mean your movie good. Hollywood can tell you that the past couple of years. Because especially now, people are hungering for entertainment and a distraction from the everyday BS. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for something different. They are looking for something different, something a little bit more relatable. At the same time, you got to have a decent amount of escapism. Okay, my phone is at 20%, so I'm not gonna cut off yet. I'm gonna give it a little bit more time. I'll probably do like maybe 5 more minutes because we already had like a long video. But I'm enjoying it. I got in my bag with this here. I might do some more live streaming. Talk about stuff I like. Maxi Plays. Hello, Maxi Plays. How are you? Hello, hello. To everyone that's watching, if you like what you hear, put a like and a thumbs up. If you are subscribed, thank you. If not, please subscribe. Also, check out some of my skits. Check out my shorts, my videos, and I got more soon. And let me know what you think, good or bad. Work in progress. I want to know. Do you like them? You think they good? You think they suck? Just let me know. I'm tough and my feelings ain't that soft. Don't get too rough though. It's like Erykah Badu. I'm sensitive about my so. But yeah, the kind of similar to today. Set a schedule and commit to streaming at least twice a month. You got this. I'm gonna do that. And I might not even just do twice a month. I mean, it depends. Like I'm feeling good about it, maybe because I'm feeling myself on it because I like entertainment. You know how I talk about it on the job, so it's like why not just share that with the world, you know? So that's what I might do. That's exactly what I might do. But just like today, in the 60s, the Hollywood system, the film industry system shook up. It got shook. 90s was smoother. It wasn't really a shakeup as it was a good blend. It was the mainstream and the indie. So, this was the Spike Lee era. This was the Robert Townsend era. This was the Martin Lawrence era. This was the Jamie Foxx era. You had this like so many people say the 90s was peak culture, which when you look back at it, it really was. 2000s like right behind it. 80s is like right behind it too. 2000s, 80s kind of match on certain things, depending on how you grew up. But I would say I would really compare today's film industry or status or level or the tumultuousness of it to the 60s. It's a shakeup and it's a well-needed shakeup. Well-needed. Because just like the 1940s and 50s had too much of the big studio things, like everybody wasn't into the biblical epic or the sword and sandal. I love sword and sandal and biblical epics. Ten Commandments and The Black Swan and Adventures of Don Juan, some of my favorites. Show you how different I am. But at the same time, like Cleopatra was a big, from what I heard, shout out to all the TCM people, big overbloated mess. But, well, it was overbloated mess as far as for the studio, but the movie was good. It goes from that to now a lower budget style, a more grittier style. Even directors like Alfred Hitchcock, like people think Hitchcock it had lower budget stuff when really, if you look at his catalog, most of this stuff was high budget, pretty movies. North by Northwest, big budget, beautiful. What's another one? Rear Window. It might not have had the biggest budget, but it was a pretty movie. Suspenseful and pretty. What Happened to Harry? That's like another one. Yeah, because you're out like in the mountains in the country. Beautiful movie. Then you wonder how this murder happened. Sabotage had a budget to it, pretty spectacle wise. And then in the 60s came. And he knocked down the door heavy with Psycho. Because it was more like a TV movie. Like the Alfred Hitchcock hour. And then he kind of changed the game a little bit and started a genre with the birds. Because you didn't have no animal. That's what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about empire ants and stuff like that, food of the gods. You didn't have too many flock movies. I call them flock movies or natural horror until the birds came in. And then he kind of just changed it up from there. And of course, happy Black History Month, all the black movie stars and actors. Oscar Micheaux, Josephine Baker, Paul Robeson, Francine Everett, Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte. I'm just calling out random names. They paved the way for the likes of me and big names out there. Of course, I'm not a big name yet. But, you know. Fred Williamson, Jim Brown, Richard Roundtree, Pam Grier, Tamara Dobson. Of course, in the 90s, Denzel, Will Smith. What you focus on will expand. This universe all. And that's why I'm gonna continue to focus on. I'm gonna continue to focus on it. I'm going to continue to focus on this. It's things that I like. Just spam the internet with it. That's what I'm gonna do. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's now yes. Okay, so yeah, the Resident Evil birds. You can definitely tell that they were inspired by Hitchcock. Hitchcock inspired not only that video game, he inspired as far as Psycho. If anybody's ever seen the X series, so there was this movie X. I can't remember the lead actress's name, but there was X, and then there was the prequel Pearl, and then after Pearl was Maxine. That's the newest one. Show you how influential he is. That's a whole nother beast right there. Show you how influential Hitchcock is. He's inspired me. Of course, when I create my own stuff and just put it out there. That level of suspense. More than just blood and guts. The blood and guts add on to it. But and then I'm trying to think if there's any other movies. There was one. I'm going back into my old school bag here. Okay, I don't know if that was Manhattan. It wasn't Manhattan, baby. It was Glenn Ford was in it because there was a bird attack. He got attacked by one bird, a hawk. But it was I know The Visitor. Old 70s horror. So The Visitor was inspired by Hitchcock. Now, there was one scene where a guy, I think he was attacked by birds, but it was kind of supernatural. So his body was spinning and the birds were kind of just circling around him as they were like pecking or attacking him or something like that. He was one of the villains, so he kind of had it coming. Glenn Ford was in it, but he got attacked and it kind of led to his doom. You have to see the movie for yourself. But that was another Hitchcock-inspired movie. And a few times I've played Resident Evil. I never owned the game, but I played the demo. Yeah, I was scared of those birds too. So, and especially in this time of year, and I know Marcus, you've seen it. Especially this time of year, you've seen the birds flock because they're coming from the north, from one part of the area to another. So they flock from one yard to another. Every time I see all the birds, I'm like, Lord, I'm glad they're not violent because we be outnumbered. They do. When you think about what the if you ever watch the birds again, pay attention to what one of the older ladies, I can't remember her name, but she is in the bar scene in the birds. She said, why, if these birds would just combine and attack, we all be doomed. Because you think about all the styles of birds. You think about crows, ravens, cardinals, hummingbirds, all those different style of beaks and attacking, different speeds, different styles, vultures, even the most dainty of birds turning on you. That would be scary. That would give the military some trouble. That would give government some trouble. That's one of the last things we would need happen. And fun fact, that's actually based off a real event. It wasn't as severe. You know, the movie made it bigger, but there was a bird attack in Bodega Bay in California that inspired the movie. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Red eyes and those sharp beaks. Exactly, exactly. And then also think about in this day and time with all the stuff that's going on. Who's to say? This a lot of stuff is not too far from reality. A lot is not too far from reality. You know, we thought watching a movie from your phone, who would have thought that you could watch full blown featured movies from your phone now? Like 20 years ago. We never would have thought this. 30 years ago. You think of just how advanced. We don't have flying cars yet, but they working on it. There's like a good 20 to 30, maybe 40% of the Jetsons that has come true. And you think about it, you think about Marcus. Jetsons came out around your time, and they were showing the reruns in my time, and we see now touch screens, the little vacuums that they roll across the floor and clean your floor, robot maids, Siri, Alexa. Oh no, be careful. Forgive me if I said that and something went off in your house. Forgive me. But think about that. Watching movies from your phones, transactions without using tangible cash. I know entertainment is not the most important profession, but it does kind of it is a necessary beast. It's not the first thing you go for, but you think about it, it's like it kind of steers the course. But I mean, you remember, it came out a little before your time. I didn't know if it was the because it was kind of like maybe like was the 70, 60. I think it probably was 60. So it was before. It was before. Because I know in my time, I thought I grew up in the Voltron era, but actually I didn't. They were showing reruns. Yeah, we are closer to iRobot than yeah, we actually are. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Because Jetsons is way more out there. 1964. Yeah. Jetsons is more 1964. Because actually Jetsons and because that was the Hanna Barbera. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Hanna Barbera league of things. So the Flintstones was the prehistoric, while Jetsons was the futuristic. That's like Scooby Doo was the land pet, and Jabberjaw was the oceanic pet. I know my stuff a little bit. But yeah. That was going back to what I was talking about. Yeah, we were talking about birds. Hanna-Barbera for sure. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about birds. But yeah, we went from talking about dogs, birds, music. We talk about the whole zoo. but yeah, but a lot of the Hitchcock really did pave the way for a lot of future suspense horror directors. But really, the suspenseful part is what you laughing at me yawning. The suspenseful part is what really does not get the appreciation it deserves. Everybody just goes for horror, blood and guts, but it's more than blood and guts. Blood and guts is like the chef's kiss of the chef's kiss of great suspense. It's like you scare them up, and then and then it gets vicious and bloody, and then you cut and you pan away, so you can leave the shock and awe. It's a shock and awe thing. But this is what I'm gonna do because I said I need to get off here, and I am because I got to charge up my phone. I have enjoyed everybody. This was fun. I know this video didn't get as much, but I know my last video got more. But it's more terrifying than anything. The psychological horror is more terrifying. When you mess with the mind, that's what does it. When you mess with the mind, because that's like, and maybe it's a little out of context, but you can have the same scene happen. You can perform the same scene, but it's the music that really sets the tone. Which that music does, once it goes through the ears, it does mess with the mind a little bit. I remember seeing this commercial where they showed a bumblebee or a bee go into a flower, and they played different styles of music, and it all kind of just led, either it can give it a comedic vibe, a horror vibe, an adventurous vibe, a romantic vibe, which that messes with the psychology of it. And then sometimes, if you really just want to be a master of the mind, sometimes you don't need music at all. Some of the scariest movies. The Birds is one of them. Doesn't have a soundtrack. It doesn't even have a signature, a signature horror movie sound, like, okay, Halloween or Jason or Freddy. You have sometimes you have that. Some movies just don't have that. Sometimes silence is probably your biggest soundtrack. Yeah, Grindhouse and Planet Terror. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna check those out. And it's just something about the old Grindhouse movies. Some things. That's why I say some movies. That's why Tubi is so big. Oh yeah, John Carpenter, of course. Of course. Cannot go wrong with John Carpenter. Some I'm gonna think one more topic when it comes to like psychological horror and music, and then I'm gonna end this live. If there was one movie that really knew how to utilize sound, I would say, as far as like in the realm of horror, other than Jaws, we know Jaws they knew the assignment. I'm not going back into Hitchcock. I talk about him all day, every day. I know you talk about John Carpenter theme tracks, but there's another. There was another one that was on my mind. Kind of a killer, serial killer. I don't know if it's Halloween or if it is. I'm gonna go. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go into a more. I might have to go back into my old school bag. Where think about talking about Vincent Price. I might say Vincent Price for another day. That Grand Master of Horror is a whole nother beast. I'm gonna just talk about just pure silence because I don't have the I have the TV playing, but I got it on mute. Pure silence. To all my movie buffs out there, check out Nightcrawler, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Check out Nightcrawler. There's a scene where he's waiting out in his car. I'm not gonna tell you why he's waiting out in his car. Let's check it out. I'll be on. Come up but bed. So he's sitting. He's just waiting in his car, and something's about to go down. It's like the calm before the storm. Very suspenseful. Yes, we will find a recommended list and pin in the chat. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, and you and me gonna talk about it. You and me gonna talk about it, Marcus, because I'm still trying to work this live stream thing. And so you look at Nightcrawler. He's waiting in his vehicle because he knows a big incident is about to go down. It's something really, I would say, tragic as well as vicious, as well as exciting is about to really go down in this like restaurant. And I'll say he sets it up. And I will say there's nothing more terrifying and nerve-wracking than to know it's bad enough when something happens that you don't expect that just shakes you and riles you. But I think it's just as much torture when you know what's going to happen. You know some crap is going to go down. You know that it's like that train crash is about to just come and hit. When you're just forced to just sit there, knowing destruction is about to happen, there ain't nothing you can do but just sit there and just die and just witness it. That's what that scene reminds me of. And the payoff is great when you see it. Check out Nightcrawler from Jake Gyllenhaal. That's actually one of my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal movies. He doesn't get enough credit for that one. He gets more acclaim for other stuff. But Nightcrawler is some of his best work because he really plays this psychopath and sociopath to the T. But all right, y'all. I've been on here for 31 minutes. I'm gonna charge this phone up, and I'm also yawning, and I'm probably give me something to eat and chill out for the rest of this night. I'm gonna do some more lives. I really enjoyed this one. I thought about it. I was teasing it, but I said I don't know should I do it or not. But I'm glad I did it. And we're gonna talk about more things when it comes to my lives before I go. Basically, topics of modern day, whatever's trending, whatever's hot. I still try to bring it in entertainment fashion because it's still an entertainment channel. I'm an actor, so get ready for more scripted content. Get ready for more shorts. I'm gonna do some drama. There's some other stuff I'm gonna tell you, but gotta keep it hush hush. I can't tell you all. I can't tell all my moves. And gonna talk about pop culture, media, as well as some of my favorite things. So movies, music, video games, collectibles, stuff that I just like. And I just would love for you to enjoy the ride. Just join me on this ride. We talk, socialize, keep it respectful. I'll keep it respectful. And I'll see y'all later. Y'all be blessed and y'all have a good night. Peace.